all of those groups. I'd like to change direction slightly now though, because those of us who work here at Durham on the CODEC project would be glad to introduce that project to you and say a little bit about what it is that we're trying to do. So I'm going to invite David and Pete to come forward, and in due course probably Kate and Colin as well.
Yeah, we want to just say a few words by way of introduction to CODEC, so that then after our break others will come along with their passions and their projects. CODEC was born some 2 years ago in a number of influences coming together. The first was Brian Brown, the man behind the Story Keepers animated series on the television, coming towards the end of his ministry and saying, what are the lessons that I learnt in the media that need to have a wider discussion? Secondly, I remember being a sole survivor, and after attempting to say something on the media, a young teenager came up to me and said, how do I do apologetics via YouTube? He knew exactly how to use YouTube. He was asking me for some theological help in terms of the apologetics. And then how our experience moves out into the digital world environment, how it moves through into preaching and things of that sort. And we thought that doing something here in Durham, in a place where we have an immediate relationship straight across the road with one of the leading departments in theology and religion in the country, where we train Anglicans and Methodists for the ministry, and where we have 400 18 to 21-year-olds studying all subjects across the university, would be a fun place to ask the kind of questions that we wanted to ask. Questions which have a research edge to it, where we want to move beyond the anecdote to get some real data, and to ask those research questions in different streams, and then to find the resources that might allow us to generate creativity and to enhance the creativity of those working at the cutting edge. So Pete, one of those streams is biblical literacy. Do you want to say a word about that?
Just to go through the what CODEC is. CODEC, as you all know, if you're kind of digital, is a kind of a translator box. And we're trying to look at the possibility of translating analog to digital, to go from an analog church through to a digital church. What does it mean to actually change the way we discuss things about the Bible, about Christianity and so on? So this is part of it. All those who know anything about CODEC just kind of wince, but that's okay. A new research centre based here with 3 different streams. CODEC aims to explore relationships between Christianity and the media, understand the developments in human relationships and self-perception within the digital media world, research and develop teaching tools within this world, and assess and resource the Christian community's appreciation of the digital environment. 3 centres that are part of the Institute: Centre for Biblical Literacy and Communication, Centre for Communication and Preaching, which is headed up by Kate, who will come and have a chat in a minute, and the Centre for Theology and Cultural Engagement, headed up by Colin, who will also come and talk to us in a minute. Oh, is that? Sorry. The Centre for Biblical Literacy, which I'm kind of heading up, which you may have heard about in the news over the last couple of days, because we've just released some of the results of our National Biblical Literacy Survey. It was in the Independent last week and lots of different places this week. But we're trying to look at the way in which biblical literacy might be explored. What is the use and the understanding of the Bible in today's society? We've done this major survey, and the results will be out in a book form by the end of this year. And we're developing a whole series of new projects working with the university. Biblical literacy for us is about reading the Bible, knowing the Bible, making sense of the Bible, noting biblical presence within the world. Anybody who saw Torchwood cannot fail to have picked up the various sacrifice and atonement themes running all the way through Torchwood. Sadly, they got it wrong at the end. and they just turn that into Nietzschean nihilism, which is absolutely ridiculous. And I think it ruined the whole 5 days. But, and then also applying the Bible. How do we apply the Bible so that actually Russell Davies doesn't get it wrong next time he does a TV programme? Sorry, that didn't go out on the web, did it? And also about embedding the Bible as well. Some of the projects we're looking at the moment, and I'd really be happy for you to kind of come and talk to me over the next 2 days about these, because we are a startup, and therefore we're kind of going to get things right and get things wrong. And we're looking at some of these and trying to explore what's possible. We have a PhD project in communication and biblical literacy in the digital age. We've just taken on a research student for that. In fact, it's Rich. He's going to be doing some work for us on church and community in both Corinth and in the digital world. We've got this symposium, beginning with a research network, trying to map out the academic terrain for biblical literacy. We're trying to build up a media network here in the northeast to look at how we can explore with Baltic and with Sage and with various other places, what does it mean to use the Bible in the arts and the media in the 21st century. Through another organisation, another link with the Centre of Newcastle, we're trying to look at the possibility of whether biblical literacy and social inclusion or exclusion go hand in hand. Is it possible to draw a link between the lack of Bible knowledge and exclusion from the culture in which that Bible knowledge is so important? And we're quite close talking to the sociologists here in Durham about that at the moment. Doing some research into the reception of preaching, doing a pilot project on that will run until December, and then a major project next year. And then we're also involved in Faith and Globalisation, which is a Durham University project with the Tony Blair Faith Foundation. Tony Blair was here last Friday. And we're trying to explore there the impact of faith in globalisation, and also vice versa. Basically, there's lots and lots of people now saying you can't understand globalisation from a secular perspective. You actually need to understand the world in terms of faith terms, because the vast majority of the population of the world are not secular. Yeah? They're faith communities who have a faith worldview, and we actually need to engage with that much more powerfully. And Durham's setting up a big MA programme looking at that. But please come and talk to me about that and other projects over the next couple of days. I'll be more than happy to speak to you, even if I'm messing around with a computer and you need to say, hello, I'm real, please speak to me.